Hi, we'll go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone to the Form 6 webinar that's going to give you an overview of the electronic financial disclosure management system that we affectionately refer to as EFDMS. This is the system that you will use to file your Form 6 beginning this year. We appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to learn about the system. I want to let you know that about 900 forms have already been received this year. So we are seeing success with the system. Although it's been busy, we still have ample ability to answer filers' questions by phone. The phone lines aren't as busy right now as they will be in about a week and a half. So encourage you to get started early on your form. And although it's always difficult when you roll out a new computer system and there can be bumps along the way, it's been relatively smooth for the filers, but we do have a great technical team working in support of this system, working to resolve any glitches or issues that arise, as well as the commission staff who are prepared to take your call and answer questions that you might have about the system or help you out if you run into any issues while you're in the system. Joining me today with this webinar are two key people in the e-filing process. The first is Kimberly Holmes. She is our financial disclosure administrator. You might already be familiar with her. She is on this webinar, as well as Lynn Blaze, who is our chief administrator here at the commission. They have worked tirelessly on the system with the IT folks the last couple of years, and to the extent that it works well and works smoothly, it is due in no small part to their hard work. So I want to thank them for the work they've done and our IT folks for the work they've done thus far. I want to let you know that the chat feature is open during this webinar. So that is where you can ask any questions you might have about the e-filing process. Remember that I'm not covering today how to complete the disclosure form or how you would report your financial interests. Those will be specific to your particular situation. This will be an overview of the system and the tools and the navigation that we've put in there to help you file your form. But as you have questions, you can type them into the chat. Kim and Lynn will be working to answer those questions directly in the chat. And then at the end of the presentation, there should be time where some of those questions will be read to me, and I can answer them live during the webinar. And if we don't have a chance to answer your question during our webinar today, we will work to reach out to you directly to make sure we answer your questions. I want to note that this presentation will be recorded and we will make it available on our website for you. Okay, so talking about what we're going to see on today's topics, you're going to be able to find out what you file electronically versus what you're going to file on paper. You're also going to talk about the filer dashboard and how to update user information in the electronic system. All of those things will be available for you. I'm going to pause just a minute here and get my screen shared so that you can see what all we have available in the system for you, so that you can see the presentation and you'll no longer see me in the webinar. So you're going to learn about what you need to file electronically versus what you're going to file on paper. Within the electronic system, you're only going to be filing your 2022 Form 6 this year and in subsequent years. Also available in the system is the 2023 Form 6F, that final form that you file within 60 days of leaving office. If you leave office in 2023, you'll file that form and you'll file it electronically. Also the Form 6X, which is amending the Form 6. For any year that you need to amend, you will amend in the electronic system. That leaves on paper the judicial Forms 6A and 6B that are only filed by judges. Any of those that you're sending to us should be on paper. as well as the Form 2 is on paper if you're a filer who needs to file that. The Form 9 gift form is also still on paper, the Form 30, all the other forms, just your Form 6s and the 6F and 6X this year are filed electronically. I want to say now and say later on in the presentation, there is the ability to upload documents to attach to your form. You do not want to file any other forms via the upload feature in the electronic system. The system will not recognize them and they will not be logged as received. So first thing we're going to talk about is your filer dashboard. I know in order to get to your filer dashboard, you have to log in. Hopefully all of you have already done that. And if not, you can go to our e-filing page and watch a how-to video on how to log in. That how-to is only a couple of minutes. And I think we've gotten that down packed. It's pretty seamless for you. On your dashboard, there are 5 tiles for you. Your dashboard is going to be your one-stop shop for accessing the system. It's going to be your jump-off point. You're going to have 5 tiles in the system. One is going to be your organization tile. That's going to be all of the agencies that we have you affiliated with in our system. It's going to give the name and contact information of your what we refer to as agency coordinator. Our coordinators throughout the state and local government agencies are the ones who give us the names of the individuals who belong on the disclosure list. There are roughly 40,000 financial disclosure filers at all levels of the state. So if you ever needed to contact your coordinator, you could find their information there. You're also going to see a messages tile. This is going to be any important message that the commission's trying to get out or reminder of filing status or other information you might need to pay attention to. One area that you're going to likely use a lot is the quick links. From here, you have forms and filing information that you can access from the dashboard. It also contains a notice to filers that we're required by law to provide, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But I encourage you to read that notice and understand what it is telling you. It is important information for filers. It's posted elsewhere in the system as well. The public records exemption request form. Some of you may have in the past already requested confidentiality for public record exemptions under 119. If you have done that in the past, you do not have to do it again. We still have it. You're on file as a confidential filer. When you log in and go to your dashboard, you'll see a red confidential filer next to your name. It will be prominent. That means we know you're confidential. We know your form is subject to redaction of certain information, and we do provide that public record exemption information. If you do not have a public record exemption request or confidentiality request on file with the commission and you are eligible to receive one and want one, use this link to download the form. Complete the form. It has to be signed and notarized, so it has to be mailed to the commission. Unfortunately, we did have functionality in the system to do it electronically, and then elsewhere, not in the ethics laws, but elsewhere, they changed the law to require that they be notarized, so that functionality does not exist in the system. If you are filing a confidentiality request, make sure you get that on file with us and see that designation as confidential filer before you file your disclosure form, so that we can make sure that it's subject to redactions prior to its publishing on our website. All forms that are published or that are filled out in this system are published on our website. There is a public search button under the quick links that'll take you to the page where anyone can search for folks Form 6 to see if they've complied with the requirement and to see the form itself. Also under quick links is a filing extension request form. Occasionally filers endure situations that keep them from being able to file their form by the expiration of the grace period and need to request extensions. That can be done formally, and that can be done through these links as well. You'll also see in the upper left side tile, it's filings and forms. Your Form 6 is listed there with a blue button that says you can file it. It gives you the status of not started and gives you the due date, which is normally July 1st. This year it's July 3rd because the first falls on a weekend. Okay, so let's talk about updating your user information. The user information is the information that the Commission uses to contact you regarding your filing requirement. By law, filers are required to keep an up-to-date email address on file with the Commission. This user information is where you want that information to be correct. Your coordinator for your agency can also help with this. Want to note that failure to check your email or keep a current email address on file with the Commission does not constitute an unusual circumstance that would be eligible for fine waiver purposes. So please make sure you keep your information up to date at all times. Make sure that email address is an email address that you check. And also make sure that email address is not an email address that's used by another filer in the system. This is information we need to be able to contact you directly. All of your notices are being sent electronically from now on for this system. No more US mail or certified mail will be sent to you. So I cannot stress enough how important that email is. If you can make us a VIP in your list or one that that you see prominently when it comes in, I recommend that you do that. So if you look here under your profile information and you go to Actions, which is the blue button on the left corner, and edit personal information, from there, you can update or change your user information. You can also update your password or your username in the system. You can also see filings and organizations you're associated with, as well as communications and any contact history with the Commission from this page. You probably won't need it frequently, but it is there along with your account recovery information. If you want to have the ability to recover your account easily, you can provide information there. And again, that coordinator information is available to you. Okay, presuming everyone has up-to-date user information and contact information for us, you're going to want to know how to make it through your Form 6. I want to say from the outset that this Form 6 is the same Form 6 that you have filled out in previous years that you've been an official filling out of Form 6. Same form you've come to know and love over the years. It's requiring the same information as in past years. It's just laid out differently. Hopefully, we've simplified it and made it more understandable. And we're walking you through the form with the parts of the form broken up into different screens to make them more easily digestible and maybe a little less intimidating. Okay, so from your dashboard, you're going to click on that File Form button. It's going to take you to that important information I talked about. You're responsible as a filer to make sure that you don't enter any account numbers, social security numbers, tax identification numbers, PIN numbers, debit numbers, charge numbers, credit card numbers, or any other bank account information that would be protected from disclosure. Our forms do not ask for such information, but you would be surprised at the number of people who provide that to us. Please make sure that you do not provide us with that type of information. That's especially important for those of you who decide to attach PDF documents to your electronic form, particularly any type of brokerage statement or tax returns. Those things are littered with account numbers, social security numbers, and potentially PIN numbers. So please make sure that that information is not provided. If you're uploading a document, make sure you redact it prior to putting it into our system, or it risks being put out there. Okay. Also on this page, you'll see a few things before you begin. There's options for how to complete your disclosure form. We have a variety of options for filers. The most straightforward one is to just fill in the information in the form fields, just like you would if you were filling out a paper form. You will have an advantage if you select that way, because we're looking to do an enhancement that in future years would provide filers with the ability to carry over information from year to year with some stop gaps in place to keep you from making any unintentional errors with that. There's another way to do your form will be to import information using an Excel spreadsheet template that we have. Also, as I mentioned, you have the ability to upload PDF documents as attachments to your Form 6. And finally, some of you like to request that your CPA or attorney fill out your disclosure form. From within the system, you will be able to share it with your CPA or attorney so they can fill out the disclosure. So once you've read those important things, you're ready to get started with completing your disclosure. You're going to click on the green Start Filing button, and that's going to take you to a page that shows the information that would customarily be on the paper form in the top left corner, your address information. You'll want to look through and make sure that you are satisfied that that information is correct, and then you will click Next to begin. It'll ask you if you're a candidate. If you're a candidate qualifying for office, which happened last year at the beginning of the year, it asks you to designate that you are a candidate and disclose what office you're running for and the date that you're running for office. Most of you are probably not qualifying right now, so you do not need to check that box. You will simply look to see the current organizations that we have you associated with, and then you'll be able to click Next. In the event that you are a candidate and you do need to provide your 2022 disclosure form that you're about to file electronically, you'll be able to simply print out a verification or receipt of filing, just a one sheet of paper that you'll be able to take to your qualifying officer, which they will accept as your Form 6 filing, because your 6 will have been filed electronically and available online. So here we go. We're going to click Next, and we find that first question, the net worth as of December 31, 2022, or more current date. You're going to put in your year, and you're going to put in your amount of your net worth. So you have your date that you're working off of and your net worth. So now you'll see that we've paused over some red or magenta colored text under household goods and personal effects. Throughout the system, highlighted in red is going to be some helpful information for you as it relates to your form. And I'm going to go back a little bit here to see if I can pull that up so we can pause. Here we go. These are helpful pop-outs that we've put throughout the system. Sometimes you'll see a red question mark in brackets. That's where you can hover or click and get more information about the term or what the section is asking you for. Avail yourself to these helpful pop-outs. They provide information that's really going to help you disclose properly. It's going to clarify things that maybe before weren't as clear to you. So that's available throughout the system. Also available, which makes me very happy, are the instructions tab on the left. It's a red tab. And from here, you have instructions available to you throughout the entire form that you're working on electronically. In this instructions tab, it's going to relate to the exact section that you're working on. But note that under resources there, you can print these instructions. Gone is the very tiny font that we had with the paper form. When you print out these instructions, they're going to print out in a regular readable size font that you can keep by your side while you're working your way through the form. I still like a good piece of paper out next to me telling me the instructions of what I need to do. Also available from that panel are financial disclosure opinions. You can read opinions on Form 6 disclosures about how to disclose things through that opinion pane as well. Another feature in addition to those two features are the FAQs. Up on the right-hand corner of the screen is a button for FAQ that appears throughout the system. These are organized by section of the form. And in order to read the answer to a particular question that we receive all the time, you can click on it and find the answer. We've tried to think of the most popular questions we receive. We've tried to include them in here. We will build on that while the system is open and while we're receiving calls. Also, note that there's a search bar within the FAQ pane. And in that search bar, you can keyword search for an FAQ that might address the question that you have. So we're really excited about those features. We think that between the pages walking you through the system, the instructions, the pop-outs, the FAQs, that it's going to handle the vast majority of questions that filers have with regard to completing their form. Of course, if it's not found in any of those spots, you can give us a call. We'll have a member of our staff help you work through whatever question that you have. Okay, so now it's asking you for your household goods and personal effects. These numbers go in, you see the green check mark. You see that we start asking you questions about your assets here in this first part of the form. So you can see, if you can picture your old paper form, your data, your net worth, your household goods and personal effects, as you work your way to the assets part of the form. So here I want to show you some other information that will help you navigate. There are tabs across the top. And although I highly recommend that you go in order this year in this form, the tabs across the top highlights assets and underlines it. That's the section you're in. And then it breaks it down that you've done household goods, real property amount, and now you're in intangible assets. And you see those tabs work all the way through the different parts of the form until you get to sign and print. So while you're on a particular page and you're wondering how much more do I need to do, you have some waypoints on the screen for you to take a look at as you work through the form, so you won't be lost. Okay, so here we are, we're on the assets page, and now we're where the rubber meets the road, because you have all of these options for how you're going to disclose your financial interests. The first one is you can type in the information, type it in, put in the value of your asset. You'll see the trash can over under the actions part of the screen here. That's a little trash can if you enter something and want to delete it. One thing that you might really like is that you can add as many line items as you need to fully list your assets. It's not 3 or 4 lines anymore. It's as many as you need to fully disclose what the law requires. So that's one way to go about filling out the form. Another way to do it is to import an Excel file or a CSV file, and we have a template for that. We also have a how-to video. You'll see there you have the import from CSV, the CSV file template, and the how-to. If you're going to want to use this method, you'll want to watch that how-to a couple of times to get accustomed to it. The great thing about this is if you have a broker who provides you with statements, they can often provide you something in an Excel format, and you'll be able to copy and paste that information into the template, and the template will load into the system. And I'm going to show a little bit about how that works here. if you want to do a CSV file. So we have the file template that you'll click that will download. You see up on the right-hand side, it downloads to your computer. You can complete the information. You can see we've added some description of our assets there. And you'll save it to your computer. Once you've saved it, then you can browse to it on your computer or drag it and drop it into the file drop area. Here we've navigated to our assets information. We put it in the panel. You can remove it if need to, and then you can add the Excel spreadsheet to your assets listed or replace your listed assets. You'll note there is a total value to the import. I'm going to pause it right here. The reason why the total is there is for a filer to be able to check that total against an Excel spreadsheet total they might have in their original document to make sure that they haven't missed anything. In the electronic form itself, there will not be totals. This was just provided as a means for a filer to check that total real quick to see if they might have missed anything. So again, we're in this document, this Excel file upload, and you can see here it populated right into the screen of assets, exactly as it was imported. So that feature was available last year. We did have some folks use that, and they liked having that tool, so we left it in place, and it's now available throughout the form as well. Another way that you can use when you're filing your form is to upload PDF documents. If you get to a section of the form and you want to create a PDF to upload in as a part of your disclosure, just like if you used to attach documents, you check the box that says I have additional documents to attach. You will not upload those documents right away. That upload you can see from the tabs at the top. The upload tab is the fourth tab from the right. So we do all of the uploading at the end, right before you review your documents and sign and print them, or sign and submit them, either way. Okay. And the fourth way that you have to disclose is by sharing your form with your CPA or an attorney. If that's the way that you choose to do your disclosure, you'll click on that button. You'll provide the CPA or attorney email information. You'll click the blue confirm button, and it will send them an invitation to register in the system. Note that once you've done that, the filing status shows that you've shared the form, that it's not been started, and it also gives you the means to revoke access to your CPA or attorney, which you can do at any time. If once you share your form with your CPA or attorney for completion, it will be locked for editing. That means that you'll be able to view it, but you won't be able to make changes to it because it's going to be under their control. Once they've completed their work on it, they will send it back to you, because you will be the one who has to file the actual disclosure after your CPA or attorney does their work and signs it. So ultimately that filing is still your responsibility. But at any time in the process, you can revoke access from your CPA or attorney if you change your mind and decide that you're going to fill it out yourself. Note that you can complete as much of the form as you want on your own prior to providing it to the CPA or attorney. It's just locked as read-only once you provide it to them. Okay, so we're moving next to the form. You see these pop-outs that are the question mark with the brackets. It tells you how to disclose those types of things here under assets. It's important information on how to disclose your stocks and bonds, your mutual funds, your investment products, your annuities, your leased vehicles. We try to put the most common topics there for you at your fingertips. And you'll move through the form, answering questions as appropriate for yourself. You see, we're in the income section now. Once you're in the income section, we've added another way for you to disclose income, and that was with the bill that was passed this session. It now allows you to file your tax return again. That was a change based on filer demand last year when it couldn't be done electronically. We now have that functionality within the system. If you wish to file your federal tax return, instead of listing your income and income sources, then you would check the box to attach your federal income tax return. It also must include all your schedules and attachments and W-2s. Again, that gets uploaded near the end of the filing process. Okay, if you do elect that, you won't need to fill in anything in the income parts of the form. If you don't select that, then you will complete the form as you would normally by either typing information in, uploading an Excel spreadsheet, giving it to your CPA, or uploading documents. Again, you'll see on this page, you see the question marks and brackets. What does the commission mean when they say joint income? Salaries, commissions, and dividends, sale of property. How do I report those things? It's right there for you. Those instructions, they're right here. You can click to see them. You can see the tab as to your progress in the form. We just tried to break it up into smaller bites for you to be able to complete. So you're navigating through the form, you're looking at the pop-outs, you're accessing the instructions as you need, or those FAQs. But this particular file says, hey, I want to use my tax return. I'm going to say again, your tax return is going to have a PIN number. It's going to have Social Security numbers, potentially account numbers or routing numbers for your checking accounts and so forth. You'll want to scour that tax return and redact that type of information from the tax return before you upload it. Please, please, please redact that information. Based on experience, I can tell you that your Social Security number is in all kinds of places on that form. You're going to want to look at it line by line to make sure that you don't miss anything, particularly on a tax return. And that's for any filer, regardless of whether they have a confidentiality request on file with us. Okay, you see the back and the next arrows. We're going to the next part of the form. This part of the form is asking for interest in specified businesses. This part of the form is not asking for just any business that you have an interest in. It's particular types of businesses, and they are listed next to the bullet points on this part of the form. And then you have to answer 2 questions relating to whether or not you have any interest in those types of businesses. If you do, if you answer yes to either of the questions, you will be routed to a place to enter the appropriate information. But I wanted to draw your attention to that particular item because it tends to be a point of confusion. Those specified types of businesses are listed right there for you. So we're going to answer no. It's not very common for people to have interest in those kinds of businesses. And here we are at the uploads page. If you do not have any uploads, then when you get to this page, you'll simply get a notice that says that based on your selections, you don't have anything to upload, and you can move on to the next page. But for filers who decide to upload documents, this is an important page. You're only going to be able to upload PDFs, not Word documents, not Excel documents. You're going to have to convert them to PDF. Note under the what not to upload box that appears on this page right here, only documents related to the Form 6, not any other documents that you might have to file, only the Form 6 that you're filing here. It cannot be larger than 25 megabytes in size. So if you have a large document, you might have to break it up into smaller pieces to get it into the system. Again, the warning for the PINs and social security numbers, etc. We don't want that information in here. If you are going to upload documents, there is a step-by-step upload document instruction sheet that you can click on to download, that you can print out. It has screenshots and step-by-step instructions. I'm going to go over it a little bit here so that you can see how it's done. But again, similar to the CSV upload for the Excel files, we have a drag and drop area or a browse files. So here we go. We're going to answer these questions. I'm going back to the previous screen so you can see how it will work. And then you'll have the step-by-step instructions of where to go and how to upload. That shows you what that upload document looks like. So you'll follow those instructions, and then you're going to browse or drag and drop the PDF documents that you have saved on your computer. Once you've got it opened into the area, you want to click that blue upload document button. If you don't click the document upload button, it will not show up. Now you see our document listed under the uploaded section of the page. You repeat that process for as many times as you need to get all the documents that you have. You can print your form at any time in the system. I wanted to show the printing option now because you can see it in draft form, and then you can see Form 6 upload. So any documents that you've provided as a part of your filing, you'll be able to see that they exist there if you do a print dialog to see it. Okay, so we've uploaded our documents. We say, are you sure that you've done all the redacting you need to do and you're ready to upload? And then you can move on and answer your questions related to the training requirement. Remember that training requirement is for the 2022 calendar year. So it's training that you did in 2022 that you're reporting now. If you were elected after March of 2022, that requirement wouldn't be there for 2022, but hopefully you did it anyway. But you'll make your selection here. And we did our training. So we clicked that we certified that we completed the training. Remember that you don't have to provide the documentation as an upload to this. And now you find yourself on the review page. This is where you can see all of the information that you have. I'm going to back up so you can see that. Everything that you've entered, all the questions that you've entered, and all the information you've put in to the system will appear on this page. Highlighted in red, it says, you didn't put anything under liabilities. So you can click the link to go back and put that information in. We want to make sure that people don't forget to complete a particular part of the form. That's why I recommend you go in order, but you know, sometimes you need to go back and make changes, or you see a mistake that you've made. You are able to do that. Once you've gone back and made that change, you're going to want to click back on the review tab. And I'm going to back this up here so you can see that again. Let's back up further. Okay, so we've made those changes. You click on the tab back to the review page, and you'll be able to see that the information that you added now appears under liabilities here. I made that red check mark that shows that you've put that information in. You continue to scroll down to see that everything you've done is in there. If you've put attachments, it says see attached under that particular section. And then you can see here down at the bottom where it says what documents you've attached. So you want to take great care to make sure that everything you've wanted to include is included. And if it's not been included, you can go to the update section link. That's for each part of the form to add or remove information or update information as you see fit. Once you're ready, you're on the sign and submit page. You click to sign, you type in your name, you click to accept the signature, and when you're ready, you're going to click the blue File My Disclosure button, and we're going to ask you if you're sure. So you have a chance to go back and make changes if you need to. Otherwise, here you are. You have you get a success message that you have submitted your form. If you are a regular filer, your form will be sent to be published on our website. If you are a confidential filer, you have that public records exemption, your form goes to a holding queue so that we can review it for redactions under Section 119, those public record exemptions such as your residential address that you're required to provide, but that we don't publish. So we'll go in and make redactions as appropriate and then publish that form. From here, you see that you can view the verification or receipt of your form. That's something that's on letterhead. You can view it there. It will also appear in your dashboard, so you can print it at any time. Also from here, you can print a hard copy of your disclosure form if you want. You don't have to do that because it's going to always be available for you from within your dashboard. So you don't have to take the time to print it. You'll be able to see it in your dashboard. Also, if you get to where you have submitted your form and then you realize that you might have that you left a social security number on a particular page, or that you gave us an account number that you didn't mean to give us, you're going to want to contact us right away so we can get that form pulled down. You'll want to email us the exact location of where we can find that information that you inadvertently disclosed, and then we can go in and redact that information and get it back out there. There's instructions here in the blue shaded box that tells you how to do that, that you send us an email and you put in the reference line redaction request so we can prioritize that and make sure that we pull anything that you inadvertently provided, such as an account number or a social security number or a PIN number, and we can get that taken care of. So again, that filing process, you click to sign, you type your name in, you accept that signature, and then you click the blue File My Disclosure button. We'll give you one last chance to go back and look at things if you need to, but otherwise you'll file that disclosure by July 3rd. If you don't want to print your form or print a verification, you can just say no thanks. And then you'll be done. So now that we are in this part of the presentation, I'm going to open it up. I know that there's been some Q&A. If there are questions that have come up, Kim and Lynn, if you want to ask those questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if anybody has new ones they want to put in, I know we've covered a lot of ground in terms of the navigation. Hopefully most of it's intuitive, but if not, you'll be able to refer back to this webinar or give us a call. So what do we have in terms of questions?
Okay, Carrie, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. One question is, if you upload PDF documents, will they automatically print out when you print the Form 6 after signature, or do you have to print those separately to send to JQC?
Those should print at the same time, correct, Kim? Under that preview print page, it shows those documents, and they'll be able to be printed.
Right. Any attachments that you've attached to the form, when you get to that print your form, it will print all your attachments behind the form for you to send to the JQC.
Right.
Okay, another question. Is there a way to skip net worth until the end?
You can skip all around in the form. I think the difficulty in that might be that you might forget, but there at the end under the review page, it will point you back to that if you've not provided a net worth amount. I don't believe, Kim, that we have a business rule in there that requires it be in there at the outset.
No, as long as they go back to it and answer
Yep.
the questions and fill in the information.
Yep.
Do I have to identify my house address in listing assets? How do I ensure that remains exempt from disclosure?
Okay. You are required, if you have an asset, to identify that asset. If it's a home, you want to list that address. If you have a confidentiality request on file prior to the filing of your form, and you're designated as a confidential filer in the system, and again, remember, you'll know that because on your dashboard next to your name will be a red confidential filer designation, and it's big enough you'll see it. If you are a confidential filer, it goes to a holding queue where our staff, just the same as we did with paper for the past 10 or 11 years, we go through that line by line, and we redact out those addresses. I can tell you that in the past, we've had a very, very, very high success rate in getting that down. We're very experienced in that. We have a double layer of review for that sort of thing. And it is our responsibility to redact that from your form. And we take that responsibility very seriously.
Another question. This time next year, we'll be filing our second Form 6 in the electronic format. Will we be able to copy paste information from our 2022 Form 6 into the 2023 Form 6 that we'll be filling out?
It will be, it is our plan and our hope to have functionality in the system that will allow filers to bring information over from the previous year's form. Now, the pitfall to that, of course, is that people's financial interests change from year to year. And sometimes we see when people copy things from one year to the next, they might carry over the same mistake year over year over year. But we hope to put enough information in the system and reminders for folks that we'll be able to pre-populate that if you choose the fill-in method for your form as opposed to the PDF upload. But any information that's typed into it would be a good starting point for the next year. We're hoping to have that functionality there.
Okay. Where's the box to check for attaching tax returns? Is there any way you can go back and show?
Well, I will tell you that is on the income page. Let me see if I can get there. Let me stop sharing my screen. I'm going to go in and pull that page up. Give me just a minute here.
If you can't, I think the person that asked the question says that they see it now. I didn't know if anyone else may have missed it, but.
Okay, give me just a second here. Well, I don't think it's not letting me go back. I can pull it up in the presentation, but for some reason in the system. Okay, now let me see if I can get this there. All right. Okay, here we are. Can we see it? All right. There we go. See it right here? I elect to file a copy of my 2022 federal income tax return. So that's the box you will check for attaching your income tax return. Do we have more questions?
Let's see. Is former filing form or form data available for last year's candidates?
Last year's candidates who filed a Form 6. If you were an incumbent filer who filed a Form 6 last year, or the person you ran against was an incumbent filer, that information would be on our website where you confirm form receipt. You can look at those forms for that filer for previous years. If it was a non-incumbent candidate who was filing a Form 6 with the qualifying officer, that would be on file with the qualifying officer as opposed to the commission.
Here's another question about carryover. Is the carryover available now? I filed electronically last year before it was suspended.
Unfortunately, no. We had to kind of wipe everything and do quite a bit of reprogramming to make the file uploads possible. So this is all new. We weren't able to bring over any information from last year.
Okay. Can we stop inputting the information, log out, and then log back in later without losing the information we already input?
Yes, and thanks for asking that. I didn't mention that during the presentation. At all times, the system in the background is saving your information. So you don't have to sit there and do it all at once. You can work on little bits of it, log out of it, come back, and that information is going to be saved. For those of you who might be like me and don't trust a background save, there's a save button that rides along on each screen near where you can print your form. You can click on save at any time to save your progress.
Has the notarization of my signature been eliminated from the electronic Form 6?
They changed the law and made it so that it could be electronically notarized. So when they did the legislation for e-filing, that was one of the things that they did to make it so that a person could file electronically through the system.
If you're filing your Form 6 from your governmental email, is it then immediately considered a public record with your city, county attorney would provide to anyone who asks, or is it available only from the Ethics Commission?
Well, the form that you file is filed within EFDMS, regardless of the email that you use to log in. So that filing record is in our system and is posted to our website as a public record. I am not a public records expert because we do not administer that law, but if you have a copy of it there at your public office and somebody requests it, you would probably have to give it over. But the commission's system is where you file it, and that is where our records reside. You're not going to get a copy by email from us. It's just going to be in the commission system, and anybody can access that from our website.
I didn't know about the Form 6F. So is there any information you can provide on that?
The Form 6F is what someone files when they leave office. So it's due within 60 days of leaving your position, and it is a final form. So, for example, if you were to leave your position this Friday, you would have to file your 2022 Form 6 electronically by July 3rd, and then you would have a Form 6F for 2023, that would be your financial interest from January 1st of 2023 through your last date of service, which this Friday, I think, is the 9th. It would be your financial interest for that time frame, and that would be due within 60 days of the end of your service. The idea is that there are financial interests on file for public officials for the entirety of their term of service.
There's a second part to that question of where do I get a copy?
The Form 6F is in the EFDMS system. Under forms and filings, under quick links, you can get to a 6F from there. That's within your dashboard.
Let's see. Do we have time for more?
Yeah, I think we have a few more minutes that we can answer some more questions.
Your tax return doesn't show your net worth. So why is it on the Form 6?
Well, the Form 6 is a full and public disclosure of financial interests in accordance with what's required in Florida's Constitution and its statutes. The filing the tax return is just a means of providing income information in lieu of listing it on the form. So you can't file a tax return in lieu of filing a Form 6. The tax return is one way you could disclose your income. The net worth is a different part of the form. It is required, regardless of the manner that you choose to disclose income.
Okay. We have another question here. This one is regarding the training. Please describe the training requirement.
Well, the training requirement, if there are any judges on this webinar, the training requirement doesn't apply to you. At least ours doesn't. The JQC or the judicial canons might have some requirements, but there is a training requirement in section 112.3142. It's a 4-hour training requirement. It is a calendar year requirement. So just like your form is disclosing your financial interest for calendar year 2022, the training requirement requires that you do training each calendar year. So you're reporting your training from 2022. The 4-hour requirement requires that it contain state ethics laws, Part 3, Chapter 112, Article 2, Section 8, as well as public records law and sunshine law. If you go to the Commission's regular website, which is ethics.state.fl.us, there is a training page there where we list the particular requirements, the administrative code rule reference, and some opinions that the Commission has issued relating to the training requirement. There's also some audio and video training available on that page as well. When it comes to training, not every training that someone takes would necessarily provide a certificate of completion. I recommend that officials who are subject to the requirement, which are elected officials, except for judges, the constitutional officers, as well as city commissioners, and a couple of others, I think CRA members, are required to do it. Keep a training folder. And anytime you take a training, note the date and the time that you took the training, where you took it, what the class was, how long it was for. If you're at a conference, I'd put those materials in there. That way, if anyone ever questions what training you had, you'll have documentation for that in your files. Maybe time for 1 or 2 more questions, and then I think we'll probably have to wrap it up.
I think that's it.
That's
I
it.
have a couple others, but I think we need to reach out to them.
Okay. Well, I think everyone who attended today, I wish you well as you start your Form 6 filing. Know that our staff is here, all hands on deck, prepared to help you get your form filed. We know there'll be a learning curve this year. We do ask for your patience, as our phone system is likely to get pretty busy in the coming weeks, but we are committed to helping you work through this initial year, and interested in your feedback that is constructive. We're also interested in any aspects of the system that you might like or find particularly helpful. We would like to hear from you. So thank you very much.